Which in
It
some
most likely
respects
is
is
doing
good, in some
comparisons countywide, so.
Because, you know, a house in Wardsville is a lot different than a house in
Well,
Russellville.
you'll make deductions for that.
Yes, he does. Mhm.
So it don't matter if they're the same neighborhood or not, really.
Well, but some neighborhoods, you wouldn't get any sales at all.
No, that's why you gotta go outside your neighborhood. And I think that's probably why he's able to keep a good.
Right, because he's
Because
using,
you've got a lot of actual sales around here.
if he was just using a neighborhood, there could be a greater disparity between one house in a neighborhood and another than by using it countywide, where you're equaling it out between all the houses.
Okay, we're back,
Well,
we're
have
back
actual
on now.
amount, use actual amount that I don't give a care.
Okay.
You can use actual amounts that, I don't know if these other ones get their information from their board of realtors either.
I don't think
'Cause
they
that's
do.
That's the deal that we have with the board of realtors, is they get to use the GIS, they also submit the information when they do have it
So
sold.
Mark, Deb and Mark.
So
Richardson
you actually have a
comes
sale
down this
price.
afternoon, and we
And
can
that, I
actually
think, is
ask
a,
him what that's
is a
for.
big factor in it.
I think so too, so.
I'll just,
Slip that in on them.
yeah, we'll just ask him. We are up. Call the meeting back to order. Kristen, you're good?
I'm good.
You're good?
Auditor's good with her own budget.
Larry Vincent, you good? Collector's good?
I just want to make a couple quick comments. First, I want to thank you for the remodeling that you did in the annex and especially in the collector's office. We ended up with our new counters and the dividers we put between them. It's much quieter, so each person can be more attentive to the taxpayer at the window and hear what they're saying. So I really appreciate that. I also appreciate the vote y'all took this morning on in an effort to bring our software into the same system so that it's less problems with the information between the collector's office and the assessor's office, or vice versa. As far as the budget for 2018, my only request would be that if possible, I think there's a 1% COLA in there now. If a 1% merit could be added to that, I feel my employees deserve more. I'm assuming that a lot of elected officials and even department heads feel their employees do too. One of the reasons I would like to see that happen, for one thing, y'all changed deductibles this year, even co-pays on medicines and stuff. That's actually money directly out of the employee's pocket. I mean, I know the county needs to save money where they can, but anybody that has the medical insurance and has to get pharmaceutical items is going to make less this year because they're paying more out of pocket. So if there is a way to give a 1% merit, I would certainly appreciate that. And as always, I appreciate the working relationship I have with the commission and the things they've allowed the collector's office to accomplish over the years, and look forward to a better and brighter future.
Great.
So thank you all.
Yep.
Thank you.
All righty. Thanks, Larry.
Did you get that down, Jeff? I didn't- Make sure it's,
How much ground do I have on those?
Sheriff started on 96.
Grab a cookie before you leave.
Sheriff's Side
I had
96.
one.
Oh, did you?
Those are pretty good.
96.
Sheriff's coming.
96.
I think that
One
called.
thing with the collector is that's where the transfer in of the 60% of EMS sales taxes
Okay.
is based on my projections. So then if we lower that transfer in, we're lower also.
Okay.
Where's Donnie Schulte? He was up there. We
Marla's
should have.
coming over to do the clerks.
Oh,
All
okay,
right.
Not the sheriff.
okay.
Hey, earlier, since we got a little bit. Nope. There's Marla.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry Steve can't be here, he went home sick, so
Oh, goodness.
we
Good.
decided we'd rather him just go on home if he's.
Yeah, we don't.
Sure.
Page 33.
33. Okay.
We don't want all the sick people.
I haven't actually looked at the numbers, I don't know what I'm talking about. So, one thing he asked me to mention was we had asked for more part-time money, and some of that was cut out. Next year, we will have 3 elections, April, August, November. And we also have to send out new voter cards to all the registered voters, so we'll also be working on that. And there is petitions next year, just like we had in 16. In 16, we had 7 petitions that we checked signatures on. In 2014, we only had 2. So we're not real sure where it's going to fall this next year. We've heard of several out there that are collecting signatures. So he just kind of had asked for more money just to cover us if we need help with the petitions like we did last year. Our part-time person came in and helped with that. So that was the one thing he had asked. He had also asked for overtime money, and that was taken out. So he was just concerned, depending on how many petitions we get, how many voter cards we get back, plus we have 3 elections, we might need more part-time money. Or
We get
possibly
reimbursed?
overtime if we could, so.
Do we get reimbursed more since there are gonna be more elections then, so we should have a little more revenue possibly to offset that
No.
part-time and overtime?
The April election, all the entities will pay their portion of that. The August and the November election, unless someone actually puts something special on the ballot, like one of the cities or the schools or something, otherwise we foot the,
Or just
We foot the bill.
just the primary in general?
yes.
You know, we foot the bill for them.
Yes, so that was the only thing that he wanted to bring up, was just that we possibly would appreciate a little more money for the part-time. And of course, if we don't need it, we won't use it, just like this year, you gave us more money than what we used, so.
Did we click on that, half a grant? They did receive some grant funds. Let's click on the notes. No,
On the revenue?
Revenue. I don't think, is that not in there? No, down one. They did receive a grant for next year. I think it's that 11 there.
My turn?
Almost.
You lost out because you weren't here.
See, you weren't here, so I just butted in front of
That's
you.
fine, I'm good with that.
So,
Oh
I know
my
there is
God.
some grant money to help pay for the cost of the postal canvas too.
Is that what he wants to use?
Grab your
that?
guns.
We're outnumbered.
No, we're outgunned.
Okay, whatever
I know he
John
wants to
wants.
use it for rent. but
Whatever John wants.
that's what we have left. I'm not
Grab your
positive
taser.
exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
So that's all I have, since
Just a little
it
bit.
looks like they're taking over
Since
the
I
room.
reopened,
Yeah.
I think about
Do you have any questions for me before I
I told
leave?
Jason, if you buy it back, I can guarantee you at least.
So on election
All
expense,
right, guys.
obviously it looked like we spent about 235,000 in 16. And Kristen kicked back to 179 for 18, so don't recall a whole lot of elections in 16, but
16 was a presidential election year.
16 was?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the
Yeah, we had-
18 is just a county, state election year, so no large election like a presidential.
Okay.
And what we did this year is you started to see the cost savings with the new voting machines in that year. We actually took the last April, August, and November election that we've paid out
Okay.
and put in number of poll workers, number of polling places, all of that kind of stuff into there, and created kind of a spreadsheet to determine what the estimated cost would be.
Okay.
There's also some money, double click on that one, maybe, election expense. There's also some money in there for a postal canvas.
But Steve saw that number and he didn't say anything. I mean, he was okay with that number, right?
He expressed a little bit of concern, but I kind of told him what I did to come up with it, and he seemed okay with it.
Okay.
We haven't seen, I know in the contract with our voting machines and switching to Atkins, we are not seeing as large of an increase in our ballots as we were before. So,
Okay.
I guess if he's got an issue with that number, Marlo will tell him, let us know, Thursday, because we'll be talking about it, but I think if he's okay with that number, then that's the biggest thing, because there's a big jump between yours and his number.
Well, and in his number, he kind of took an estimate of what the total cost for the election is. There are some items in their election expense that do not run through that line item. So like they charge a voting equipment replacement cost and a poll book replacement cost and that kind of stuff to the districts when they do an election. That's part of the total cost of the election, but it does not run through our election expense line. So
Try to keep that for a true cost of
Right.
what the election's are.
So that was part of the difference in his department requested number and mine. And we talked about that part of it.
Cool.
So you got some NIDs here that we're getting some revenue off of, looks like, and then some payouts. I mean, there's some of those getting ready to
So
drop
a
off.
little bit, we kind of decided this year to, since we were adding 2 new NIDs, to break those down so that you can actually see each individual NID. So it looks a little different than it did in the past.
Right,
And you'll see Parkview Meadows is in there. Randall Drive will get added in 18, but it will not actually be
Okay.
collected or paid out in 18.
okay.
But not a whole lot different there other than the addition of Parkview Meadows.
A lot more than I thought we did. I see, so you got principal and interest, I guess, on Fanewood, Ketterman,
Yep.
Michelle,
Yep.
Parkview.
And some of those, Marla, isn't 2022? I think there will be
so,
2
yeah.
that go away, so,
Is it 2020, 2022?
I don't know, somewhere
not
in
sure.
there. We'll start to see some of those older ones.
Okay. Sounds good.
Randall will be added, you said.
Yes.
All right, no changes, John, very good, thank you.
All right, I'm leaving.
No, I saw your email yesterday. I was
Who's
wondering what was
protecting
going on
us?
there. Okay.
Sure.
All right, all right, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marla.
Thank you, Marla.
Thank you, Marla.
Thanks, Easter Bunny. Bark, bark. Sorry, we just got caffeinated, man, we had a little break.
You don't need to take a break before we start?
No.
Shiny.
We just took one before you came.
Okay. So if you look at the budget talking points, we'll just start right in the beginning. We really don't have a big issue with what the auditor's done. There's just little tweaks, as you can see, whenever we move through this. The first one is inmate commissary. We want to increase that back to $39,000, and the simple reason is we just changed, Tim Harlan renegotiated the commission from them. We were getting around 12%, we're now getting 24%. So that's going to go up substantially. I believe, Kristen, when we talked, I think you annualized the last 2 months, and that's how you came up with the 24, if I remember correctly. And I think it's going to be a lot higher than that, just for that simple reason. Just because then we put vending machines in the low risk pod, as well as with our new food vendor, they have an opportunity, if they behave well, they can buy a special meal like a hamburger. But it's their money, it's their commissary. We don't pay for that. They have to pay for it themselves, but it's allowing them to get.
Where's 43771?
Top of
That's
page
page
98.
98, jail division. So, obviously, you brought in about 13,000. If you double that, I mean, it gives you 26.
777.
So where are we getting the 39?
Well, because you're not only talking about the 24% on the commission altogether, but we have the vending machines going in, and then also the new meals going through. And it doesn't sound like a lot, 1 meal a month, but some of the food that they get down there, a cheeseburger is going to look pretty good,
Okay.
or pizza or whatever they order. So.
I was just being conservative, not knowing where it was gonna be.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, on expenditure, the very first one, repairs, we're willing to leave that the same. The main thing is, we'll just have to monitor it. What I'm concerned about is, with the new contract, The rates are a little bit higher. Now, I will tell you, I'm hearing very positive things about our current vendor. They're doing really well for us. But I just want to make sure that you guys know on repairs, that may be something we may have to come back to you later on in the year. We're going to try to make it work as it sits.
Okay.
Training fund, increase of 15,000. We'd actually, I stole this one from Jerry when he talked about trying to send some of his EMTs to be paramedics who's having issues with getting paramedics. Well, it's the same with us on trying to get staff. So by $15,000, that'll allow us to put 2 people through post-certification school to become deputies. If they do that, then they have to sign some type of agreement. I put 3 years, but it would be an agreement that I'd work out with Jill that they have to sign, and then they have to be with us for so many years before they're able to leave, if we pay for them to go.
So if we give it to Jerry, we gotta give it to you.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just throwing it out there, brother.
No, I think everybody probably come to us with that stuff too.
Yeah, well, it's not, I mean, I hate to say Jerry had a good idea, but that wasn't a bad idea. So.
It was a gallant effort, huh?
So now where do you send them, or do they do this in-house or online?
No, we'd send them to LETI up in Columbia.
Up in Columbia.
So, yeah, it's a full-time school, so we can send it to them and be done in 3 months.
3 months, okay.
So, the next one, uniforms, an increase of $10,000. In 2014, our budget was $25,000. In 15, we moved it up to $27,000. Since then, we've added quite a few more employees. We had a big issue with our bid process last year with 511 and their practices they use, and that's the second year in a row that they've messed with us on that. So we've dropped 511 altogether now, and we're going to a different one. We're doing a T&E right now through Leon's state contract to get, I think they're Elbico, is that right? So Elbico uniforms. They would be introduced when we do this, they're going to be introduced in 2018, maybe some by the end of this year, but it's not something that we would go out and buy new uniforms for everybody. This would be something that as they wear through the uniforms they have, then they would get the Elbico stuff. Any questions before we move on? Okay.
Hold on, I was just getting that one.
Yes, sir. The next one, patrol part-time, increase of 26,000. This was actually a plan that Lieutenant Sneller came up with whenever Justin Rollins, Corporal Rollins, went into the military. We had a vacant spot and we had his salary sitting there, so we used $16,000 of his salary and put some part-time people on the weekends. Every other weekend, one person works every other weekend. And it's actually, as you can see on here, they saved us quite a bit of time, 984 hours, 16.5, and that would have cost us $24,000 in overtime. So they've saved us quite a bit of time. So what we're wanting you to do is, we already have 2 part-time employees in patrol division. One is our evidence, and the other one is a administrative support. Is that right? Correct. Is administrative support. So this would go ahead and allow us to hire these 4. I think we have 2 right now that's working, 1 more in the hopper, and we need 1 more. But this would allow us to go ahead and continue using these part-time employees throughout the year to save us some overtime.
It's going to save more overtime?
Yep.
Okay.
Should.
Should or will?
Should. Well, and every time we talk about overtime, you have to remember, if you look at if everything stays the same way it is, and we don't have anything big happen, we're okay. But the first time we have a tornado, we have a huge homicide, we have something big that happens in the jail, it's going to cost us overtime. There's just nothing we can do about that. And it's hard to plan for. We've had a lot of stuff happen this year. I think all the staff has done a pretty good job on trying to monitor their overtime and do what's right for not only for our department, but for the citizens also. Next page. Cell stipend for road deputies. Currently, the sergeants and corporals that work the road get a cell stipend because they utilize their phone so much. If you ever listen to our radio, you see that our jail deputy, our road deputies are using their phones all the time. Instead of whenever they get when they get a call that can be answered by phone, instead of coming all the way back to the office, or instead of us having to go out and get a phone and sign a contract for it, it's a lot cheaper if we just go out and we give everyone $30, these 13 people $30 a month, which will cost us about $4,600. it's a lot cheaper if we do that, and time sensitive too. They don't have to go try to find a phone, they don't have to go to, back to the office to find a phone. And not only when you're out and about and you have to find a phone, you have to get a secure phone, because you can't go and talk to someone about a domestic at a gas station. You gotta be careful, of course, always. The way it is right now with law enforcement, we have to make sure we're in a safe place, because they're gonna be concentrating on the phone call and not what's going on around them as much. So we need a safe area for these phone calls to be made.
Is that an additional 13 people?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
What's that under?
It's really under salary.
Okay. So 703, that's the rest of it, so.
And then 704, clothing stipend for transports. Currently, our transports, whenever they're covering prisoners in trial, they're required to wear suits. They can't draw attention to the individual that they're in custody, or else they'll throw the case out. So what we're proposing is that we do a $25 a month for these 3 full-time personnel. It'd be $900 for them to be able to purchase these suits. So whenever they're in compliance with courts. Jail division salary line. So whenever we first had the jail financial person down there, it was one person all by themselves. That place has grown to 3 now, and the one lead person, we want to change her job, reclassified to jail financial supervisor, because she actually supervises 2 people now, as well as she's responsible for everything that goes on in that office, as well as the answering all the questions that we come up with, 100 a day. If you want to look at, there is in your packet, I think it's the last page, there is a copy of the new jail financial supervisor job title. And she'll also be the one writing the evaluations for these 72. So, capital improvements, salary study, $70,000. I knew good and well that wasn't going to go through. The reason I put that in there is to continue our conversation on trying to do something for salaries within. And I'll be honest with you, I'm more worried about the sheriff's department than I am about the county. But I'll go ahead and say it's for the whole county. But I'm really worried about us, so I'll be honest. But we got to do something with our salaries. And the next one you can see fixed sergeants and corporal pay. This is part of the money we were going to use, 25 grand, is try to adjust the sergeants and the corporal's money. Right now, when we promote one of those guys, they're already making as much within the salary line as they are right now. So what we did was we came up with a plan, and if you look on the colored page on it, it was on the 3rd. There's 2. There's now we're going to pay a corporal that's non-certified, and then if they're post-certified, they get $1,200, because if they're post-certified, that helps me a little bit more, because they're already knowledgeable of the laws, know how to write reports, all that kind of stuff, do investigations. Same as sergeants. If you're a post-certified sergeant, you're going to make, I think we figured out, was it $1,200 for that, $1,200 a year? Yeah, so they'll get an extra $100 a month for if they're post-certified or not. And I'll talk more about the paying for it, but we have to do something there, because when the jail sergeants and the jail corporals were lower paid, we're getting lower pay than what the road sergeants and road corporals were, and that's not fair. There's different responsibilities, but there's still a lot of responsibilities down there, as you all well know. So we had to do something to bring everybody up to the same, and then we have to do something to fix this compression that we have. And we have a huge compression issue in our salaries. The next one is the increase of law enforcement fees of the commission. I understand why the auditor did it, but what we're asking for is nothing outrageous. We've done well with our budget and have done for the last 12 years, I think. But the changes that we made above on this is about $72,000. She's looking at an increase of us for about $99,000 of the fees, and quite frankly, we just need this money for our services.
How did you get to 72?
I don't know.
If I add them all up, I come to 154.
I don't know. It's a bit.
Where's that added here?
To the last.
No,
that's on the sheet.
In the budget book, it's an admin fee.
It's on the, yeah, it's on the
It may be cumulative over the different divisions. Is it,
What's that,
is
the
it,
admin?
yeah, is it
It's
broke?
based on 3%.
Right, but is it broke out for each division?
Where's it at in
Just do
here?
it in one.
No, you do it in one. It's-
701.
It's computer services, you were taking 55,000 in administrative, or I'm sorry. For 2018, it's slated for 55,000 for computer services, 186 for admin fees, increase of 7,000 for computer services and 92,000 for administrative fees.
So the computer services is based on the Maximus cost allocation study, taken directly from there. So it changed because we had it redone. And then
Did you
the
find it yet?
admin,
No.
Where we at?
He's looking for the admin, 701 in the budget.
oh, in the budget, computer services is taken, it's,
And then transfer in.
right, transfer in line.
I've got about 4 pages here. If you can get me to a page, I might be able to
Well,
find
it's not
transfer.
in there in a
it's-
separate line.
well, you got it.
Computer services is taken off of
Yeah.
your transfer to them.
It's less,
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's the 2.1 million less the 199, or whatever. So right there at, transfer in, under 701, page 97,
Mhm.
1.852, 179.
So originally, we guaranteed we'd do the 2,040,000 when we
Right.
passed the tax.
Uh-huh.
And there's their computer services coming off of there, and then we changed that 1.5 administrative fee taxes only to 3% this year.
Last year, we only did half. of The admin.
All right, now you gotta start over, because I found out where we are in our notes.
Well, and what it comes down to is that last bullet in the talking points paper that I gave you, Jeff. That last bullet there, and it just shows that the changes that we've made to what I brought up to you is about $72,000, and there's an increase taken from it of 99,000. So
Okay. That's where you're coming up with the 72 then, is you're taking all these other numbers.
yes, plus the 70,000 of the, or not using the 70,000 for capital projects.
What are those two transfers in there, Debbie, at the bottom of that?
We just,
Sheriff revolving fund pays for
that
half of a
MOU.
full-time person and a full-time person.
Okay, that's both of those. So the 3% is the 186, so you changed it over there? Because it did say it meant 1.5,
You
didn't it?
did.
Okay.
No, I didn't. Just kidding.
It was 1.5 last
Last
year.
year.
Right.
And truthfully, I'm not opposed. I understand the reason why you want to do it, and I'm not opposed to you taking funds if it wasn't for the fact that I'm hurting for funds. So, it would be different if I had money to spare, and also if the services were increasing. And I'll say again on the record, you did good by hiring Brian. I'm extremely satisfied with his service and him as a person, easy to work with, he's looking long-term, strategic, so I like that. It's the 186,000 that hurts me, especially trying to fix the corporal sergeant pay, which is a huge issue. I mean, I'm losing people. Salary, I'm losing people. So I need to do whatever I can to fix that. But I'll answer any questions that you have in reference to what I've given you. And I brought my command staff in case you ask me questions that I can't answer. That's what they're here for. I'm just the eye candy.
Oh, jeez. Oh. Turn out the lights, Debbie.
At least you make
Turn 'em
us
all
laugh.
Oh, we need a chiropractor here.
So, you're hurting for money, but yet the pretrial release program has generated $1.3 million for you.
It has.
So, I mean, that's a huge amount of dollars coming into your fund that's gotta be helping,
It is. It is helping.
helping tremendously.
And I know that we've talked about you pulling the $140,000 from my budget to help offset the costs on that. But as you can see, if you're looking at this, I don't have 140,000. So And that's number one. Number two, I don't think that a sheriff should be in charge of or running a program like that. I think it's that should be something that's run by the courts, not by me.
Right.
But if I had to fund it, then I would want to run it, because that means I'm responsible for it. And I don't think it's right for the sheriff to run a program like that. Now, I understand what you're saying about it. It's not making me money, it's offsetting costs, and I completely agree with that. But the problem I have is, if you, let's just say we take away the federal marshal prisoners, I'd have to bring all those people back in. I would still have to have, I'd still have to have, actually, I have to have 10 more beds. And I would still have the same amount of people, the same amount of staff. It helps me, yes, but it helps all of us.
Right. But it helps the law enforcement fund the most, and right now, we're footing the bill for the 140,000, and you're getting the 1.3 million. So, that's a pretty good win for you. I don't know, obviously, we all need more money, and there's just only so much money to go around, so.
Well, I don't see the 100, I'm fighting over $99,000 right now, and if we throw in 140,000, then I'm fighting for
right
$200-something thousand. I don't have it.
Right. If you got the $99,000 back, what would you use it for?
Just,
all that?
yes, sir.
Salary study?
No.
But hopefully we can talk more about salary.
No.
And maybe we need to move past talking about the salary stuff and actually move something forward with something there. I know we've been talking about it for the last, at least 3 years. So we get to a point where, I agree, I think a salary study is throwing money out the window. I don't know if you had a chance to talk with Kristen and the work that she did on that, but I think it was an outstanding job that she went through. Very diligent on looking at those numbers. And it would be something that I think that as a group we should look at and try to move forward on. You know what? I just thought of something else I didn't think about. And it would be under capital improvements. But if we decide the corner lot, the gravel lot that we bought, if we decided later on that we were going to pay that would be something that we'd have to take out of our capital improvements. And I did not put that on there, guys. I don't know how much that's going to cost. And we can leave it that way for a year. I'm fine with that.
Did we get closed on that last Friday?
Yeah, we did. Yep, you were using it already when,
Oh, yeah.
you've had cars, I've gone down it.
Now, the next thing, since we actually closed on it, I'll get a hold of Larry and get some signs printed out that says,
Yeah.
law enforcement.
Yeah,
parking or
Greg
something.
Camp was already asking if he had to clean this.
Yes, he does.
The problem with the salary study is that even if we do a salary study, it's going to tell us that we're 20% behind market, and how do we fund it?
And that's a good point, Chris, but I tell you what it does do, if we look at, if we come up with a salary study that we can tangibly say this is what we're going to go to, at least we can come up with a process. Now, there's no way we can fix it in a year or 2 years, but maybe we can come up with a program that over a 5-year period, we might be able to fix it, or at least come closer to it. I think it's worth the conversation. And it may be that, the first year, the Cole County Sheriff's Department doesn't get anything because right now, Health Department is in worse shape than we are. And it might come to that, I don't know. I think, of course, the Sheriff's Department should be first, but I think that we always, but it's open for dialogue. Everyone gets in and talks about it. Because I don't think that there's any problem that you can't solve once you sit down and hold them and talk and listen. Even about the pretrial release.
Almost that stuff.
I don't have any questions.
I have one. Part-time patrol deputy. So we had like 5,000 in there. What was that for? And is that in addition to, so you had 4 part-time deputies, $5,000 is what you submitted.
Well, actually, you had us only do like 5,000 at a time or something. I can't remember. We talked about this 5 months ago, 6 or 7 months, whatever it was. Because we talked about just utilizing the money from, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, but we talked about utilizing the money from the excess money we had in patrol division because of the absences that we had. I think there was 3 at one point. So we had a surplus of money in our salary line. So we were using that, but instead of just using that out of the salary line, you had us move a little bit at a time down to the part-time.
And I was thinking this was for just to fill those 2 that were actually on military leave.
Right.
So do you think that's going to be the norm, that we would need that for next year? Obviously, one of them's already come back from military.
Right. And, well, is it the norm? No. What we're asking to is extend this program because of its, because of the results that it's given us. 984 hours with 2 guys, basically, saving us, how much, $10,000 right there. You know.
Nice.
Obviously, the new people we gave.
Well, I'm not seeing the savings in overtime this year, though.
Right, and that was what was, those new employees that we hired.
Well, that's true, but you have to remember, we were short-staffed, so you're not going to see, we're just now up to full staff. So you wouldn't have seen it, you wouldn't seen a savings because.
No, do you need the 5,000 plus the 26, or is the 5,000 part of the 26?
5,000 is part of the 26.
Yeah. So it wouldn't actually be 26 too, it would be 21 too?
So did you just eliminate the part-time deputies then and got to 21?
Just whether it's easier to keep track of if they want to add 26 too, or they want to add 5 and 21 too.
So it's 26 altogether.
26 too, all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the 5's not really going to do a whole lot of good by itself.
No, no, it's not. Good catch. I didn't see that. You see anything else on there, Kristen?
Was it the jail where we were doing 12-hour shifts and the, that was supposed to save us a lot in overtime?
Well, it did the first 6 months. But the second 6 months, we started getting vacancies, training came up, so it was harder to now we just hired, we just brought 5 on, is that correct, Jim? So they're not up to par yet, they're still going through the process, but hopefully by the first of the year, we should be fully staffed. Knock on wood, that's never happened yet, but we'll go ahead and say it. Sounds good. You know, we go back to the same, not arguments, but the same thing that we have all along is, and that's trying to get personnel. And we have an open position, we open it up, and we get 4 applicants.
I think we're gonna have $75,000 left in 704's salary line because of all the vacancies we've had this year.
When we budget, we have to budget for the full amount.
Well, yeah, you have to budget, but what she was getting at was is that we do have a lot of overtime, but look at the salary line and how much is open because of the fact that we had vacancies.
How many part-time staff do you currently have in the jail?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Jailers is like 6 or 8, I believe.
Sorry?
6, it's one.
We have 12 positions, 12 part-time positions in the jail.
6 or 8 or 12.
There's 5 open ones though.
There you go.
5 or 8. So I was right.
6 or 8 and 5.
But, and what I tell them is that it's really irrelevant It's really irrelevant on how many part-time people we have, as long as we stay under our part-time month numbers. I believe that's what you guys expressed to me.
As long as you stay within the budget.
Yep.
So, about how many. As long as they don't.
I understand.
How many full-time people would it take to get rid of your part-time?
That would be something we'd have to look at and come back to you on, because there's a lot more to it than just a jail, because we have part-time and transports. So we'd have to look at that.
Okay.
But we can come up with that.
Want to go through your capital?
We can, yes, sir.
Page 96.
We're going backwards. Supposed to go forward so we can get done with this.
Well, right off the bat, the backup ARC server and the CNC group, the backup ARC server was requested by Brian. The CNC group was requested by Greg Camp. And then the computers, $30,000 for computers, that was recommended by Brian also.
Okay.
The vehicles, $250,000. Portable radios. We have some really old radios. We got to start replacing some of them, and then adding to some. Programming is $1,000. I may have worked out a deal on that, but right now, all they're seeing is dollar signs. The windows, that's the protective coating on those windows to make it harder for someone to break them. Upgrade the Brinks truck. Trying to find a vendor for that. I found one on the internet, and so they're checking on that right now to see what it's going to take to get that up armored. And then the salary survey, which we know is going nowhere. And then the weight room equipment, we had $20,000. Kristen actually knocked it down to 15. We're okay with that because we actually found, and she knows about that, we found some of the stuff we were going to be buying this year and was able to buy it. So we're okay with it going down to 15.
So you think that Brinks truck's going to cost that much to upgrade?
Yes, sir. I'm hoping.
Is that gonna eliminate some of the other vehicles that
We
we
will get
have?
rid of everything else but that one.
That's adding armor,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, it's.
Yeah, we gotta redo, I mean.
Yeah, we still have to,
It's-
we're going to put some armor in it, plus we have to, we have to install a radio, and then there's going to have to be some body work done. to it.
Yeah.
It's got to be painted because they were really, Brinks was really adamant about us not using it, saying Brinks on the side, certain search warrants, they didn't want that to happen, so I understand that. So, but that's, again, I'm not as worried about that as I am the armament. Seems to have a pretty good engine and transmission on it. We were worried about having to put that in it, but it seems to be running pretty good. And for as big as it is, it turns pretty good too, doesn't it? It does.
We could probably get Leonard to paint it.
I don't want to do spray paints. Thank you, though. Appreciate the offer, Sarah.
The window work, what windows would that entail?
Actually, if we're going to talk about the windows, we need to put that on the agenda for security reasons,
Okay,
if it's okay.
that's fine. And then the portable radios, are those handhelds or?
Yes, it's these. So what it was is we have the Motorola 7000s. They have to be most wind capable. They run about $6,500 a piece. Kevin Weber found these through Harris for about $5,500. So they're $1,000 cheaper. I've been using this one, or not this one, but I used one of his as a T&E, and it got out everywhere. So it's $1,000 cheaper. We're going to be going to Harris. So this isn't something, again, that we would go out and buy a bunch of radios on. It would be something that we would start, more than likely what we would do is like these next two I would get, it would go to command staff. That way the uniformity and continuity of the use of these radios would still stay down with patrol division. They wouldn't have to worry about learning to use a different radio.
So is that something that you potentially do every year to try to get everybody one? I mean, everybody in patrol division probably?
No, everybody in patrol division has one. It has a 7000, If we have to replace one, I would say instead of spending 65 for a Motorola, we would go and buy one of these.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Nothing?
I wanted to plow through it. I'll think of a dumb question later.
Okay.
No new radios until we get a list of the current ones.
As far as you know, that'll be here tomorrow.
Heard that before.
Yeah, there's an issue with the stickers for these. I'll talk to them about this.
Okay,
Anything else?
not right now.
Oh, yeah, anything else in any of your other ones? Training,
We can live with just about everything else. I think we brought
sheriff
up,
revolving.
I think anything else that we've talked about all this, and I think the ones that we would like to see, we can live with all the other changes that you made other than those.
And we'll have enough money to do the CCW, paying for those MOUs again for next year.
It will be coming out of reserves, but
Yes.
their revenue during the year is not going to cover the cost, so they'll be
In that fund.
Yes.
I was thinking reserves and
no,
600.
in that fund.
If you have nothing else for me, then thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
You were going to get bit.
Hey, bud.
You,
Oh, we'll call Donnie.
Donnie or Donnell?
Oh, no,
I was gonna call Donnie and work our way backwards.
Well, you can if you want. I already told them to come
so
over.
there's no place to put stickers.
We haven't been stickering the other ones, we do it by serial number.
Are you calling him?
So as long as you give us a serial number,
Well-
we assign it a tag, but
Tell Donnell, come on over too. Neither one of these should take very long.
Oh, no, should, yeah,
well,
I'm saying take the one off the bottom and just bring them up to the top.
Yeah.
and-
stop doing that.
we already got Steve Corson there other ways.
Like for me.
I'd like to be out of the way.
Julie Upschulte, she'd come over too.
So I can still assign.
Holly.
Yeah.
That's beneficial.
I usually don't have much. Mark doesn't usually have much either, so.
Yeah, now Jeff,
We still assign a number no matter
See you, Jeff.
what, but most of the time, we would sticker the invoice that we have it, we sticker
Oh,
it.
okay, all right.
But it would be in our system based on your serial.
we got the cough medicine there.
Yeah,
I got kind of a tickle.
I can.
Now that the sheriff's left and all their guns.
We're doing Donnie.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, you need us for
Post meeting, what are you gonna talk about us? Jerks.
Tow our cars.
Well, what'd you think? Think they're gonna do it? Oh, poker face up
We already
there.
did it.
Did you call them?
We already did it. Yep.
So Donnie's on the way?
No, Julie is, and,
We'll go to the very end so we can get that one knocked off.
well, I told him already when he came by. He
All
was
right.
trying to coordinate with Richard Lee. I can text him.
Yep. Tell him we're ready for him. Otherwise, he's done. Okay, so the revenue you were talking about from the,
Jail. 12-hour shifts in the jail, it was supposed to save us a bunch of money.
yeah, but are you talking about what it's saving because we don't have
Now,
the inmates in jail from the pre-trial release, or what they're
No.
paying into it?
We added people.
well, so two different things there. So John came to us and said, hey, I'd like to try these 12-hour shifts. It's gonna decrease overtime, and talked about the huge cost savings in the overtime and, by going to 12-hour shifts, but we needed more people.
So he took like 15 out of part-time and 10 out of overtime, the other way around, and moved it to his salary line, and then it was gonna get him through this year, but it was gonna be additional cost next year to add, we had 2.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
But we didn't realize the savings, did we?
We did some, but not
But
what they thought, because the 15 we just put back into overtime. But the part-time savings is still,
Anyway.
Yeah.
Holly's coming down Julie was on the phone, and Darnell's right here.
Oh, good.
But what was the pretrial release program income you were saying, I guess, or revenue that they got?
So.
Or you're saying that actually they recognize it because it wasn't actual?
So anyway, you know, there was discussion, or Kristen and I had talked about charging them for Richard Lee and Donnie and some of those that run the pretrial lease program. It's about $140,000 a year.
Okay.
But that cost directly correlates to the $1.3 million that they're getting in federal prison.
Okay, that's where he came up with that number. Gotcha.
So,
Okay, that's where I was coming up with that, so, or that's where you were coming up with that.
But,
I
I mean,
get it now.
in general,
Yeah.
in general, you could say that, okay, maybe we absorbed the 140,000, and I'm just hypothetical. We're charging them more of an admin fee to cover some of those costs. But I mean, overall, it's saving everybody money because we're able to get money from the feds for housing the prisoners.
I was just trying to figure out where your revenue was coming, so I see exactly what you're talking about now.
Page 62.
62?
How are y'all doing today?
Good, how are you, Donnell?
Good.
Wonderful.
Hello. Yeah, I was.
Hello, how we doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Wonderful.
No what?
Looks good? All right, thank you. Hey, gotta try.
We're getting a little slap happy as the day goes.
I bet you are.
We
How
might-
many of you have you had today?
We've been here
There's
since.
an awful lot of caffeine in here.
8 o'clock this morning.
Caffeine is all that's water.
Have you at least gotten up and stretched a bit?
If you want.
Okay, are we ready to go on?
We're ready to go.
Okay, all
Shoot.
right. First off, I want to talk about the estimated revenues. I noticed that we've got projected of 115.5 for this year. Right now, year-to-date, we're at 112, 357. So I don't understand why there's a decrease of $12,000.
Well, so mine projected at, when we did end of September maybe, we were only at 103. So we were basing it on where we were.
Okay. Well, year-to-date, we're at 112, so I just don't think that's appropriate as far as revenue goes. I think that needs to come up.
And
So at
really,
least the
really,
projected-
our biggest months are November and December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody tries to get
Divorced.
divorced before they. New Year.
It is the sound. It is the
I
truth.
wasn't worried about what date it was. Let's just get this stuff done, boys.
So I would like to add that back in, that
Well,
12,000.
so,
Well, if you look
I'm not
historically, look historically in the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Just-
well, look at your activity to date, so that should be through November up
Right.
on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gone. There it is.
So, it looks like the two that are significantly down is your circuit court miscellaneous fees. We're only
Circuit
at
court.
21,
I
and
have,
you only have 1 month left to go. And then fees, the one right below it, we're at,
okay, activity for the month, so I'm just showing the year-to-date,
that's
I've
what
got
that should be, it should be through November.
30,000 here.
And that money's already
Circuit
been
court
turned over.
miscellaneous fees.
Has that money already been turned over to the treasurer, all of that? Because this money is
Right
what
here.
the treasurer's received.
Well, they haven't received November's and they won't receive December's on this, but, okay, so then I just printed this out, this general ledger for the report ending in November. And I'm showing that our year-to-date balance is $30,655.43
You don't have that
on
current.
circuit court miscellaneous fees.
Where, click on that, Debbie. 21,992,
And that
and
was,
that was through,
just had a little bit already on the
Well,
floor.
what's this report then? I just printed
Should
this
that
out.
match
The
what
system.
you sent?
Shouldn't
to
that
the
match what
treasurer?
is in there? I just printed it.
so we may need to run,
You have 2016. That you said
Oh, I see. Year to date, 2016. Okay, see, okay. All right, so we're at 95. Okay. I'm like, wow, that's quite a bit of a difference. Okay, so we're at 95. We haven't gotten 2 months in yet, so November, December. So I still think that we just gave a check for, how much was the miscellaneous fees, Chris? It's gonna project out to over 103.
Okay.
We can true that up.
Yeah,
in a year.
sure can. Okay, and then on to expenditures. I had asked for an additional $7,500 for 2 employees to finish a project that was started in the attic. We started indexing and doing retention purposes for probate cases that we had that were up there since the 1800s. We're got over 863 hours from OSCA this year, but she isn't going to complete it, and those monies are no longer available. So I'm requesting that we have 2 part-time employees finish that project up with, which I've given you this information before. About 700 hours, maybe.
I told you to go backwards.
So that's where in the part-time, 7,500 for 2 employees?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the additional request on that. Now, the only thing I can say about my office supply money is that right now I'm at $12,642 as of December 1st. Is that right?
So, there. You're at 12 right now, but that's, the third quarter's in there, 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah, well, I just looked at it. I just had,
Oh, you run it?
yeah, I just added, this is how much our as of 12/1, our quarterly is at $2,030.95. So right now, we've got $12,642 that we've spent. I just want to point out, I purposely put in 11,000 because of the office equipment requests.
And it's in here, in the back.
Is it in the back?
Yep, and circuit clerk, $4,000 in the
Perfect,
sales
then.
tax.
Well, that only gets approved, but it's in.
No, but the request is still there. It's
Okay,
just not.
it's not
this
in my,
budget.
okay. So it's in a different area in here?
Page
Capital
112.
improvement 112. Okay, perfect. That's it.
That's it?
I guess basically my thing is I would like to finish that project up in the attic and get it done. So then we won't have any files up there, but we still have some tapes, you know, that sound recording that we have to keep. You know, familiar, like if it's not court recorded, say the associate judge, or we didn't have a court reporter available to us, we have to sound record it. We have to keep those tapes as part of the record permanently.
Do the hearings on tape.
Yeah, hearings on tape. That's the
Those
only thing that's.
deteriorate. What were they deteriorate? That's what they're talking about. The
Right, but
VHS, you know, where.
Here's
That's
the
only thing
evidence we
we'll have
needed.
up there in the attic. I think everything else is.
He was innocent.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, naked gun. Well, not naked gun. He
So
wasn't.
if the 4 goes into sales tax, you're okay with the 11 in office supplies?
Yeah,
or-
because most of our budget right now is going for office equipment is that printers, the printers. I mean, I just ordered 2 more because we got printers that are going bad, but they've been around since 2003, I think.
Kim's is going bad.
Huh?
Kim's is going bad.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Well,
that's it.
Okay.
perfect. Thanks,
Thank
Donna.
you.
Great, thank you.
I hope it's a quick afternoon for you guys.
Molly.
Well, we was trying to get another 1 or 2 down here real
But
quick.
there's
and everybody
2
knows
down there,
it.
Donnie and Richard are back there. and
I saw that.
Yeah, we're-
68 is Holly.
68.
Everybody's
All right,
here.
Holly, what do you got for us?
I don't think I have anything.
$800 shares.
Well, heck, you could have said that.
I mean,
All right.
the only thing that,
Oh,
I
now's
maybe
the
at
only
the
thing.
end of next year, Rich just told, Bazaar just told me that we're gonna have to get new computers either the end of next year or the beginning of the next one because we're dated and the software. I didn't know that when I did the budget. He just told me that like a week or so ago. So I'll probably address that.
We're kinda working that stuff
in
through
next
Brian,
year-
right?
In next year's budget.
Not
So-
so much hers, because she's.
Yeah, I can get reimbursed for mine. So,
We
She
have,
probably didn't have any problem. You gave her everything she wanted and more.
yeah.
she's unique.
She is not using her full grant money, so the amount in her child support personnel on revenue side matches the total expense, but that is not the full amount that she's allotted from the state. We've held her employees to the same rates as the county and stuff. She doesn't usually spend her whole budget.
No, it's, yeah,
either.
usually I have a lot of it left.
So,
Alrighty, run.
I'll go back to work.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you, Holly.
Brownie point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't even gonna make you sit down. Heck, you wouldn't have to come down here, you sit down. Just don't do anything for what you showed us. Alright, who's out there next? Donnie?
Donnie's,
Thought I saw Julie out there too.
Richard, yeah, Julie's out there too.
They're coming together.
board security is 66.
Sweet. And we got two more. Oh,
We got
neck
Chris.
ass.
We got Chris.
I know, I ain't worried about that. Alright, what are we starting with here?
I told them whoever wanted to go, I didn't care.
We all come.
Ladies first, fine.
We'll do, court services is 64. We'll do her first.
64.
Yeah, do it first, yeah.
Just cutting into Donnie's nap time is awesome. We'll be alright.
Somebody needed to.
You're not even listening. That kid over there playing with his phone.
Get to a certain age, it's
Oh, I hear you. You wait till you get my age. It's worse.
We were trying to cancel trial.
Any changes there, Julie?
No. And I contacted the insurance company because I anticipated the, little bit of an increase this year. And they said it might go up just a little bit next year. We have $8,200 on there, what we previously had. And she said that about that would probably be correct. We were able to keep it the same this year, which is a 7992. So, and I went over with the judges, she did not have any additional changes, additions, increases.
Did we get the jury script money coming back in figured out?
Yes,
Okay.
we're doing a Cognos report. Nick Bowen over at OSCA is preparing all of that.
Okay, so we're thinking that we're gonna get our 6,500
Yes.
before the end of the year this year?
Um,
Fingers crossed, okay.
trust. And I don't think there's any other mileage. Everything else is pretty much the same.
Thank you. You didn't have to come over.
It's laughing. Everybody, oh, I really don't have anything. Oh, wait, phone. Oh, it's just fun.
I mean, it's okay.
Okay, Donnie, you're up.
We got a jury trial on Monday, we're trying to,
Cancel.
yeah. Which is what we
All
were
right,
to come over and
page
try to
are
work
they
with the
on?
money to pay the rate reporter
Next
for.
page,
We
66,
have to.
found it.
Joey said.
66 is court security.
I don't care. Go wherever you want.
You're up, Donnie.
Good. Thank you.
I'd like to see them canceled.
Do you need me? Do you need me? Good.
On our other budgets, we were talking earlier about the murder trial.
Yeah.
We do have one set for January 29th. That's
66.
that's the Judge Beadham's trial, and we don't know for sure if it's going or not. And that I think that's Bullard. And I won't know if that's going until about the second week of January, but we've got that in the plans. But if we have to start sending out questionnaires, I want to get Jesse to come in and send out the questionnaires, because if it stays a capital murder, we're going to have 500 jurors. So I have to have somebody get them all sent out. That's 1,200 questionnaires that's got to be sent out. And then we have to go through and we have to have 500 jurors. And so I was going to get Jesse to do that. Now, if that one does get called off, the Teeter.
Oh, you gotta buy lunch.
No, the Teeter trial is set for the end of February, and that is a go. It's not going to change. Judge Woods has got it out of Washington. That's the bad guy I was telling you all about. That's going at the end of February. He's not backing out of it because he went to senior judge status, and he wants to get it over with. So that one is going. But if these other trials come up, I'll stay in contact with Kristen and Debbie to tell you what's going on, so we can budget them out.
The plan there is, we'd like to track those expenses separate from their regular jury stuff. So we want to sub-account the jury script line in 153 and add like a, you know, I don't know what we want to call it. murder trial line, something to that effect, and track those costs separately, because they're kind of abnormal, and if we mix them in with their regular jury cost, it kind of skews the history. So we want to track that cost separately, so the plan is to sub-account that, and since they kind of go off as quickly as they come on, we've been waiting until we know for sure that they're going before we move money into that line.
Okay.
And the other things I want to talk to you about is on my, what changed on mine was mostly the part-time. I want to thank y'all for supplementing me the latter part of this year, because we've been to walking wounded the last 6 months, but everybody's pretty well back. Jeff's going to be gone the next couple of days again, but he'll be back Monday. So we're looking like we're going to get through this year okay. I did raise the part-time up. Richard's lady does another 5 hours a week compared to the last one. And I did put Gary's time up some, and so did I did Jesse's. I'm anticipating, these trials go, I'm going to have to give the guys their time back, their comp time. So I either had to pay overtime or give their comp time back, and our part-time people will take their place while they're on their comp time. The only other thing I changed was the meetings and travel and dues. I was asking for a little extra money because I do have Randy Cole that's on his, that's with him now, with Richard, and he's still a certified police officer. He still gets training through us, we still pay for his training, and we used him like yesterday morning. Instead of calling another part-time guy in and paying him, Randy stepped in for a couple hours to keep him paying somebody else, and we used him. Other than that, everything else on my budget, I think Kristen and Matei is the same as it was last year. Only other thing I did want to ask is I know the sheriff's changing weapons now, and we're shooting with the sheriff and them, and the weapons that they bought 14 or 15 years ago were small pistols. I've talked to guys, they don't mind if we trade them in or we don't. I haven't really decided what we're going to do. If we did, they would give us $284 for each, or $309 for each one of the weapons that we've got. And I think it'd be like $125 or $175 difference for each pistol. Now, the way that I have our manual written, my guys can carry any pistol they want as long as it's not a revolver and it's a 9mm 40 or 45. So I'm not really too pushing to buy weapons right now because they can carry their own weapon if they want and not have a problem. But I do have 4 weapons that are owned by you guys. And I didn't know if you wanted to trade them in at the same time and keep them all the same as what the sheriff's got. If you don't, that's fine too. That's whatever you want to do. And then Richard wants to talk to you about the pre-release.
So on your part-time, you had requested 75,660, and the budget officer took you down to 70,000. Do you need the 5,660 back, or?
I'd like to have it. If I don't
Okay.
down there, I think I'll come back in and ask you if I need it. If these trials go, you're talking about these guys getting a lot of compensation, and I don't want to come in and ask you all for pay overtime or something.
Right.
And that's what I figure we're going to have to do is get comp time off.
And then the meeting travels and dues, you need the 4,500.
Yeah, because that's, right now they changed the rule now. We have to have 24 hours of training every year, and 8 hours of that are in specific items. I've worked out a deal with MU to come down here to train us for $105 a guy for those 8 hours, and they'll come here and train us, so we don't have to buy lunch or any travel.
Okay.
Anything else for me?
I don't think. I mean, Richard's going to talk about the pre-trial release revenue and expense, I guess.
Well, I don't know what it is, but I was just going to let you kind of talk about what we're doing with this lady that's we hired. One of the things that when we started looking at the jail and looking at the increase, the only increase we're having is in intake. And so what we looked at on intake, something that we could control from our end, is the number of failure to appears. Failure to appears make up a lot of arrests each month and a lot of booking in our jail, people that miss court dates. A lot of that can be from numerous reasons. Some of them may be wrong court date written down, bad information, can't get vehicles to get here. I mean, there's a lot of things that contribute to failure to appears. So what we did, we went to the judges and talked with them a little bit about this issue. And so we did 2 things. One of them is the state of Missouri in the court program developed a Track My Case. And so what Track My Case does is is if you can get the offender's telephone number and his email address, you can enter that into the system and the individual will get a text each time he has a court date. So that way you're basically giving them the information on, so if there's a mistake or there's something wrong with a court date, they're getting that information immediately. So what we did, this lady that we have, she's going to each one of the court dockets. Her and I have been going to all the court dockets and all the different courts and signing people up. She's probably entered in the time that she's been here, and she started, I think, in June, she's probably entered close to 400 people into this Track My Case docket. The other thing that we do is when, at least in the circuit level cases, if someone misses a court date, we then try to re-engage them. She tries to attempt to make contact with these individuals. Out of 50 cases that we've had so far on the failure to appears at the circuit level, warrants have only been issued on 4. So that's a significant reduction in the amount of workload, not only for circuit staff, their staff, but also jail and also police who are out there booking and arresting these folks. So that's kind of what the program is. That's what we're using that extra time for her. I think it's a benefit to the system as a whole. As far as the pretrial program, we've been averaging about 59 people a day on the program. We've been extremely busy working for and trying to get people into different types of community-based programs. That's kind of what we've been working on, is developing community-based programs. One thing I'll share with you that we've been tracking over the almost 4 years now, 3.5 years the program has been in existence. Of all the clients that have been through the pretrial program, 60% are actively on probation. And that's over this 3.5 year time span. That is a significant number of success for people maintaining probation. If you look at the normal probation numbers, they're not nearly that high. So I think the program and initiating them into some type of supervision at the pretrial stage kind of carries over with them as they go through probation and paroles program.
Richard, when did we start with the new Lake Shuffling Company?
We started, I'd have to look, I can't tell you for sure.
I think that my figure for pretrial release may be a little low because it's kind of picked up quite a bit, the amount that we've been spending on lake shuffling and monitoring.
Yes.
So the figure there,
I think that we thought we could be, but we were just guessing what they had and the amount of money that was coming back in.
well, on the revenue side, but on the expense side, it's really picked up the last couple of months what we've been paying for that service.
Part of that issue is we're doing some for the courts on people that are on DWI. And we're expecting a quick turnaround with those folks that are in the DWI court program, that they'll pay their expenses immediately. I can give you a breakdown. I've got it all broke down. I can give you everything on that.
Well, I'm just wondering if we need to add a couple of $1,000s.
It probably wouldn't hurt.
Well, you got it cut back to 15.7?
Yeah, and we may need to bump it back up. At the time, when I did the budget, we were on track to be about right there, but he's had 2 or 3 months here that have gone over $2,000 just for the lake shuffling.
And we also, last week, if you were watching the news in the morning, we anticipated it was $62 a day for jail. Did you see what Boone County said it was on TV? $72 a day.
Depends on who you ask. You can go in from $77 to 62
Well,
to
Boone County
82.
may still get out of 72. I thought it was a little high, but that's just me.
Well, that's why Boone County's not building, because they're buying beds for 38. So they're making money by sending people.
Yeah, if you ask me how much it costs us to do it, I'm gonna tell you 77, but we'll keep them for 62.
I don't know.
We're only getting 25 from, or 22 from.
I'm gonna take it back to 19 or.
I was thinking going to 17.5. I was thinking,
So the revenue coming in on the pretrial is from the cost that people are paying to have the leg shackle?
Yes.
So they have certain ones that they're charging, like if they're in drug court or something, they're charging them to be out on
Okay,
like.
certain ones are being charged, certain ones aren't.
They're all, here's the problem we get into as far as losing revenue, is when cases are dismissed by the prosecutor's office. We can't collect. So if we have somebody that we have out on electronic monitoring, that the prosecutor's office dismisses the case, we can't collect it because how we're collecting it is through their court fees.
Right.
Which is a longer process of collection. Now, I'm trying to, and we encourage our clients to pay as they go as best they can, but all the people that we have that are coming out of the DWI court program and the drug court program, we're on them to pay as we go.
Okay. Can you give me some numbers on that as far as how many days?
I can give you everything on that. I'll give you.
Just a total, just to see what, how that
We kept.
$12,000 or whatever is made up.
We've got a spreadsheet on everybody and I can provide that to you.
Great.
If you would, send that to all of us.
Yeah, no
Just a heads up for you guys.
That's good information.
is We're gonna have Melody add a separate account for your office supplies and stuff. We want all of your costs to run through that line. So we
Okay.
can track the total cost. So instead of Julie going and getting you box of
I thought we
mints
were
or
doing all through
whatever.
ours. I thought we were doing all through ours.
Well, I think it's kind of, Donnell did some, Julie did some, you did some. We've been trying to move all of those costs, and that's why your costs have increased some, is we're moving them all back into there, because we want to track the total cost of your program and what you're spending. So any costs for that program, we'd like to see in that line, so that we know that this is exactly what it's costing us.
Well, and I think some of that was, we had purchased some equipment this year and the courts were paid for some of that equipment. So I think that's some of that, what Julie and Donnell were covering was the cost that the courts paid for the equipment. Like I think we purchased 4 desks, maybe 5 desks, but Donnell got 3 of those. We got 2.
Right. This is more like office supplies. So
Oh, okay.
If they came over and got office supplies from Melody, you didn't have your own account set up.
I was doing it through Donnell.
Yeah.
That's what it was,
So
yeah.
we've now, if you guys come and get supplies, you can go directly to Melody and it will be on its own, so that
Sure.
we want to do
Next.
that going forward so that it gets charged to the right place.
Sure.
This housekeeping stuff, y'all can get this aside anytime.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Pretty hard, little.
Okay, see you, Donnie. See you, Richard.
Okay, Mr.
Thank you.
Chris.
Hey, did you get a deer, Jeff? I just ain't on,
Just with the bow, shot doe so far.
ain't got nothing.
I'm gonna try to take a week off around Christmas time, and if I don't have to do the family stuff, I'll just go hunt. I don't care. They saw me at Thanksgiving, that's good enough.
Cheaper and safer.
Okay.
They'd probably be happy with it too.
Okay.
Chris?
Page 94.
There we go, getting towards the back of the book. I'm almost done again. All right. Somehow we always slip back forward. 94.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm there, go ahead.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. The big thing we need to do right now is get some employees. Our starting salaries for residential appraiser one was $28,732 in 2007 when I took over. I want to raise that up to 31 or 32,000. And I'm partway through a salary study, and quite honestly haven't been able to finish it because we've been short of people. But the IAAO, which is the International Association of Assessing Officers, has done a study, and in the United States, 3% and less of people employed doing appraisals are making under $30,000. So that's only 3% in the country that are making less than what we're starting at. So
That's for an appraiser 1?
that's for an appraiser 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm wanting to move that up to 31 or 32. And then, of course, the others would go up. I haven't come up with those numbers yet. But basically a new salary structure for the office to get the salaries near where they should be. We're not going to get them where they should be. And in reference to that, Adam Brown will complete his residential certification this year, and he is eligible for a one-time increase.
That's in there, Chris.
The 3,000?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It is.
Well, I just wanted to make sure they were
Okay.
aware of it. He moved up to a supervisory position. The position basically pays $41,000, so I increased him to $38,000 at this point. Once he gets his certification, we can do the other 3 and put it up to 41. I would like to have some additional funds to avoid compression in the ranks. Basically, somebody's been here 5 or 6 years and they're now making $34,000. If I raise the starting salary to $32,000, you've got new people starting with no experience right underneath them. So just to keep a balance in there, because if somebody's been with you 5, 6, 7, 10 years, you don't want them to be making within $1,000 of what somebody just starting is. The increase to the ads, I tried to increase that last year, and y'all cut it back to 8. And again, we need to put up there, we've got no money for employment ads, no money for notices. Let's see, the meeting, travel, and dues, God willing, we will get some new employees. They will have to be trained, because this isn't a job you can come in and just do right off the street unless you've got the background. My personal property side is in good shape, but it's the appraisers that I need, the real estate side that I really need badly. And I've had a couple of good prospects, but none of them are interested for the range that we're talking about. Let's see. That was the meeting, travel, and dues, and it would be great if the newspaper bill could get paid so I could put ads in the News Tribune again. But we'll do whatever there, and we could use some new carpet. We haven't had it in well over 10 years, so that's all I got.
Do we have the carpet in the Capitol Park? Because that'd be over there whenever.
I don't think that was written down as a request. He had, additional computers and workstations for 5,000, but I didn't have anything for carpet.
Okay, can we write that down?
Yep.
And I mentioned it to Greg, and if y'all want to come over and take a look at it, you're welcome to.
We'll just put a
It was there
question mark.
before I came in.
Okay. You got tile over there too, or is it all carpet?
Pardon?
Do you have tile over there too, or?
There's tile
in the
in the entryway, yes, where they come in the front door and then all the way to the back and in the break room and in the hallway there.
Is that in decent shape, or?
It's not bad. It's, the guys do a really good job of taking care of it. I mean, I come in the morning and get blinded by the sun.
Okay. All right.
Questions for me?
That's it.
I don't think so.
Thank you,
Chris.
Chris.
Just in time, Mark.
You're up.
I'm at 2:30 now?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, you're right on.
76 is the page number.
Hi there, Chris, how are you doing? Very good.
Last but not least, we're out of money.
We'll take a vacation for the end of the year. We prosecute more every year anyway, so we've already reached enough, I guess.
We got any changes to the budget?
Well, I requested an extra assistant prosecutor, and it's a position that we desperately need and have needed for several years now. Our case filings, in felony case filings and misdemeanor case filings have increased. I should say our misdemeanors have leveled off the last couple of years, but our felonies have increased. And I don't see that changing on the horizon. And we would be very grateful to get another assistant prosecutor position. Also, in terms of needs, I really feel we need to convert the prior part-time position that remained unfilled to a full-time position. So to move that up a half of a position to full-time for a legal assistant. Those are the main two needs that we have, as well as, of course, our
Okay, anything else?
I'll make a note real quick. We do need to update the VOCA grant. It only had the one
Right.
victim advocate in it, so
Okay.
it needs to be increased to 2.
I do want to once again say I appreciate that from the commission. It helps to serve the victims. And as our cases go up, unfortunately, that means there's more victims that are out there that have been victimized by criminals. And many times, more and more repeat criminals who could be classified as career criminals continue to prey on our victims and not stay in jail as much as they should and not get the prison time they should or get early parole. And as those things continue, our law-abiding citizens unfortunately are going to be victimized more. And to help us with another assistant would help, I think, maybe have less victims in the future instead of the trend that we've had in the past of more victims. And also some individuals having more cases pending at the same time than ever before due to bond rules and release rules.
So basically, you're requesting another full-time assistant prosecutor.
What would that salary range be?
That would be, I think I submitted it down for 47.5 or 48.5. I'll have to check.
And then taking a legal assistant from half-time to full-time?
Yes, sir, to do that, to also help make up to have another assistant prosecutor. And they already had the half-time, part-time. I had also requested a raise for the lady that took in that extra work, who's done a good job this year. And some of the other work got spread out. As you know, next year I will lose administrative legal assistant who's retiring, and we'll have to move someone into that position, which already got someone working in that position. And so I'll have to hire a new person in January, which will be at less salary, so that'll have some savings also for the budget.
Debbie has a question. We had received a check from you.
Correct, yes, the commission had paid some items for our office that I didn't think, I thought it'd be better that it's paid out of a fund that our office earns versus taxes.
Okay.
And so I've sent money down to the commission because you paid us some cost that came in this year, and the office appreciates that, so that's what the money's for.
Do you need a breakdown for that, Debbie, or?
It's reported in miscellaneous.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Yep.
for your assistance and help this year. As I said, I hope that you'll give strong consideration to the needs of the office, which also reflect, I think, the needs more than ever for a sufficient office to prosecute the career criminals that we have out there that seem to continue to get out there and prey on victims. And for all they pay, I think they deserve better. And the service that we've given, additional victim advocate would be great. It would sure be nice to add that. As you know, that's a need that we've had that I've brought down here for several years now, based on how the cases have trended upwards.
One more thing, we currently have an MOU with the prosecutor's office that is still, so, the part-time investigator and one full-time prosecutor.
Right. In other words, our office is paying for that, and we'd like to continue to do that, but we would like the commission to pay for an assistant also.
Well, we've taken in a lot today, and we'll have a lot to chew on.
And I'm always willing to come back and
Sure,
answer more
yeah.
specific questions when you get to that point, if you do, and to be able to show you in the charts, you know, the felony filings, as I said, they've gone up. The police turn in more cases, that means unfortunately more victims. I know sometimes people say, well, the prosecutor can control that. No, if cases come in, the police have made legitimate arrests, those people need to be prosecuted.
Right now, how many assistant prosecutors do you have?
6 now. That includes the one that our office is paying for from the funds earned through our agreements with the Department of Revenue. And the bad check fees, which have continued to trend downward and will continue as more and more credit devices and things like that. And checks are used as credit devices. So the bad check fees that the office used to earn is on a downward trend that I think will continue. Fortunately, some of the Department of Revenue things look better than they have in the past as far as earning that. But that takes an attorney's time to try to earn that money, which, by the way, every $10 our office earns, we automatically earn $10 for the commission by that work.
Okay. That's all I got right now, but we may be hollering at you.
Sure, I'd be glad to come down.
Yeah,
Sure.
just one floor up.
Okay, well, thanks.
Thanks, Bart.
Thank you,
Thanks
Mark.
very much.
Done for the day, or do you want
We should recess to my office.
We'll have to recess to do that.
What are you wanting to do?
we can go back and address some of these, clean some of that up, or we can just start fresh on Thursday, whatever you guys want to do.
Start fresh on
I think I'd
Thursday?
rather start fresh on Thursday. this is,
I think we just start at the beginning of the book and work our way through on Thursday.
this
Kinda
is
take
just,
them in order, and
Is there anything else you guys want to see for us to work on between now and then?
yeah, is there any questions on things people ask for that you want more information?
Well, I mean, so you think that the sales tax is gonna be down from what you put in there?
Yeah, so pull up law enforcement just because you can see it all.
I think we're gonna have a bigger number in the next one to make up for the 3 small ones we had.
I don't know.
So you think that will that just affect the cash forward?
I'll bet you a
or
fifth of whiskey.
Is it gonna affect the,
I bet you this month's up.
I don't
Going to say
think
up or down?
it's gonna too much affect the cash forward. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be significant amount down, but my projection was done before November. We received November. So my estimate was that it was going to, what I usually do is I take where we're at when I go forward. So end of October plus last year's November and December. So already I had November in there at what it was last year and it was down.
okay.
So I plugged in last year's December. If December is down again, I'm down probably 4% from where we're gonna be. So,
So are you down 4% from last year's revenues or?
no, just those 2 months.
Okay,
So I have everything in there accounted for actual, but those 2 months I estimated being what last
Okay.
year's was.
Well, currently, right, 5, 6, if you had December of 16 down, you're about 6.2.
Yeah,
But if
so
you
about,
think December's gonna be that much lower,
well, so there's 25,000 right there.
Right,
She's at 6,
25,000.
yeah. So if December comes in exactly the same, we're already, it still needs to come down to 25,000.
25,000 on 6.2 million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's-
mean-
It's not that much.
No, but
Right.
when you're talking
we
about,
wanna say we are keeping it flat. So in that terms, we need to bring it back down to exactly.
and we need to make sure that flat's where we wanna be. I mean, if we think that we're on a trend where we're going down, do we need to drop it down below flat?
But that 14% don't count.
Well,
No,
obviously, I mean, we've always
I
budgeted
couldn't believe that.
flat and no growth and just enjoyed the benefits of the gains. But, I mean, if it trends down more, that's why we got, contingency reserves. I mean, surely the economy's not gonna fall. I mean,
No, I just think that.
stock market keeps
Stock
going
market's
up,
up,
which
yeah.
I don't.
I think that the big thing that needs to be addressed is the online shopping. I mean, I think that's really starting to take a toll, and we haven't seen any large retail growth in 2017 in Cole County. We lost Kmart, we lost Sears, and we haven't replaced them with any large box retail.
Didn't lose much.
That's true.
And they went
but
to Kohl's, they went to Walmart, they went to other places.
That's true, but you're still.
Huh?
Down, we've got the new, yeah. Everybody's selling.
yeah, but you're just, you're taking from one and giving it to another. I mean, I don't,
Just even out one.
I mean, I think we saw some large increases.
When we're getting the
in
money.
sales and stuff where people were going to Columbia and now they're staying here in shop, so we're not.
Yeah, you
seeing
made a good
anything
point in
like
the
that.
article. I agree with that. We went up a little bit probably because of that, so. When are we gonna show all the money from the eclipse?
I think the big thing we need to be concerned about more than anything is the drop in public administrators fees, the drop in juveniles fees, the, recorders fees are
fees,
down.
yeah.
Prosecutors delinquent tax money is down. I mean, all of those fees, even though it's not a huge amount in each one, you take 10,000 here and 10,000 there and 20,000 here and add them all up, it's making a big difference.
And there's no really place to focus on getting more revenue in.
Right.
You know, if we had the ability to increase some of those fees in GR, which you guys, most of us set by statute, I would say. So there's no, you know, other than the tax levy, but we're at our ceiling, so you can't do anything there either.
And I,
GR.
and I think that's why we're very cautious with adding more employees, because that's an ongoing cost. If it's something that is a one-time capital purchase or a one-time cost to the county, yes, we can pay for that out of reserves. We don't want to add those reoccurring costs that don't go away that we're paying out of reserves.
right.
So keep that in mind when you're thinking about more employees.
Will you resend me the sales tax for November? I can't find it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I got it out.
We're gonna gain a lot from our personal property.
Because I was
tax
adding
this
up
year.
the, if you take what we had
So
through the year.
that
it
is
was
one
like-
good thing.
I-
If you looked at Larry's budget, his commissions and fees are going up just because the total amount of money that he's collecting is going up. So that offsets some of the decrease in fees we saw in other places.
Well, my
But that's not
personal
going-
property went up from $585 to $1,100.
But we don't see that. It
Oh, I
doesn't come
know,
to the
I
county
know,
other
I
than
know.
Larry's 1%
I know.
fee.
Well, some of it does. I mean, obviously, when his personal property goes up, there's a certain percentage of that goes to road and bridge, and a certain percentage that goes to general revenue too, doesn't it?
But we didn't really increase our levies that, we didn't increase road
I
and
realize,
bridge.
yeah, I didn't say that we increased our levies, but I mean, if the amount goes up, the percentage will go up slightly too.
So his unless his actual assessed value on his vehicle increased, we're not seeing that increase. The whole increase is going to the school other than Larry's commission that he collects.
Well, but there's got to, I mean, so many people were complaining about their personal property going up that there's,
So if it was based on a reassessment, so if your taxes went up because of a reassessment, so like your property
Right.
got reassessed at a different or higher value, yes, you will see
It
that.
was right at 1%. It had to do with assessment. Values changing from one year to another.
yeah.
That was only at 1%. What people are paying for is just different tax levels that changed.
No, they're saying it just went up, that their values increased on their vehicles because now they supposedly have
They're
a
going by the
VIN
VIN.
or something that they can go off of.
And that's
tell
what they're
them.
complaining about more than they are their real estate.
So I think that depends on if I say I own a 2014 truck, and that's what I put on my assessment form every year, they were basing it on the base Chevrolet truck.
Yeah, and unless you
And now
complain,
they're looking up the VIN and seeing, hey, you have a 1-ton dually, whatever, that's not just a Chevrolet pickup. Yes, that definitely.
now all of a sudden it's a
changed their
$60,000 vehicle, your assessment goes up about $600, and they're complaining, like, look, you made about $600 the last 4 years that you wasn't paying that full amount, so. I mean, and I don't know the exact stories behind them, but I've
No.
seen and heard a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I think they just benefited from them, and if they go in there and argue with them about the value of it, I mean, you can bring the book in there, the blue book, you'll be able to argue pretty easy with it.
Mine are also old.
Did you find it? You never did email that one to us?
No, sir.
Okay, I was wondering if I filed that in the wrong place, but I was searching for you and
Yeah,
you
I'm
wasn't
really-
gonna BRB.
I'm really dumbfounded by the the lack of growth and the sales tax with the stock market just doing so well, and it seems like the economy is strong. And
I think it's like more people are shopping online.
Oh, I do too. I really do. It's,
I mean, if it's affecting us though, it's gotta be affecting the state too. I mean, it's just not Cole County.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not,
it's
but
statewide.
at the same point, this year, you know, the state passed where Amazon's now charging Missouri tax. Well, they're seeing the benefit of those Amazon purchases where we're not, because we're not seeing that local tax.
you look at the US mail trucks that are out on Sunday, that's all they're delivering is, and I mean, they're everywhere.
When did they start delivering on Sundays and at 8 o'clock at night?
I have no idea.
They are though. We
Yeah,
see
they
them in
are.
our neighborhood homes there.
Oh, yeah, you see.
And
you'll
they're
see the
losing
mail
their
trucks-
butt.
You see the mail trucks
They
out.
gotta be.
Early.
Oh, they are. Yeah, USPS is just
Yeah.
lose,
But I just-
and yet
I'm
they
just
keep
like-
adding more services. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, they wanna add an increase to the stamp too again.
But did you see, have you seen, like, I know I've ordered 2 or 3 things where it comes UPS all the way to Jeff City and then it gets transferred in the Jeff City office to the local post office to be delivered?
Yeah.
They have to have some kind of contracts with UPS and stuff that they're picking up like their overflow or
Huh.
something. Because you'll track the package and it'll go UPS all the way until it gets to the Jeff City office. And then it'll transfer to post office.
But I do, I think it's people shopping online. You know what you want, you pull it up, here it is right here.
Well, and
Just order it.
when you do use tax being self-reporting, I mean, I'm sure there's some people that spend that threshold in online shopping during the year, but when it's self-reporting, they're not gonna report it unless somebody makes them.
right. Yeah, that's, I mean, a lot of counties and cities think that that's the answer to the problem, but it's not. I mean, it's just, they gotta start charging tax regardless of where the sale is. But that becomes a nightmare for out-of-state companies, so.
But nothing else you heard today that you want more information on before Thursday?
I'm sure there is.
Oh, thanks.
Well, yeah, if you
We
come
made,
up
we
with
made
something
note,
that-
I made notes in here, Will.
I know I'm gonna bring recorders, capital. I have the clerk's office, how I got to their election stuff, if you guys wanna see it. Is there anything else we talked about that we didn't have?
No, try to get a cleaner list of capital requests. See if I can just something, put that all on my sheet.
You can give me a breakout of the number of employees in the different funds, like Road and Bridge, Sheriff,
So I have
and
a question.
EMS.
Just total number of
And
employees.
then the rest that are under GR.
So is the spreadsheet that we do that lists like everyone and number of employees and all of that, to talk about that spreadsheet, do we have to be enclosed or do you just?
We can go in
write
there.
the names or?
Wipe out the names.
Some departments, but it's all public information, so.
Just go wipe out the names or take that column and
Cause I know
blank
there's
it.
some people who ask for particular people to get increases.
Who was that one that did the sunshine request? Anybody know who that was?
EMS,
Hmm?
EMS.
He works
Work
out
for
there.
EMS? Oh. Cool.
I guess the big thing to remember this year, if we can't add revenue, is we don't wanna add a lot of expense.
Right.
Because we're already budgeting a deficit in most funds.
I think it's gonna be a tight year, so I just think we,
I mean, you guys can think about the philosophy as far as a percent increase versus a flat dollar amount. Also, if you want,
On what?
on 1%.
Well, but that all depends on what we approve and disapprove. I mean, there may not be nothing left.
Sure.
Or there could be a whole lot left.
And there's some fees that maybe, like Donnell said, maybe we need to readjust them at the end of the year and make sure the projections still look good. There may be a little bit of revenue we can pick up in a few places that their fees are, hey, they're up in November and December. Maybe we need to adjust that revenue a little bit. The goal was to get to 2% increase, but I don't know that we're gonna get there.
Right.
All right, so you say it's gonna be down in, so that's actually gonna be October's numbers. So we already got our eclipse numbers. That's probably when it was up that month.
yeah, because.
And then it went down to 2 months after that. 'cause
What was
everybody-
the eclipse was August, right?
Right, but so sales tax is 2 months behind, and there are some people that report quarterly instead of monthly
Yeah.
It's gonna be
and
up.
stuff, so it fluctuates with.
We're gonna do
throughout the
Maker's
year,
Mark,
too.
5th of Maker's Mark, or what do you wanna
Other
do?
makers, Mark.
Little apple Crown Royal?
No, no.
Oh,
No,
man,
that's-
put that with some
no.
rocks. Mix it with that butterscotch, you got caramel apple. A little bit in your coffee.
Oh, gag me.
Oh, mix it up some drinks, bud.
Oh, Maker's Mark on the rocks with just a splash of water.
Oh, if we're gonna do that, we'll get some old charger. We'll get some, a little heroin.
What did you think about public administrator information? I thought it was very interesting.
I thought that came from him until you told us who it came from. And I looked at the numbers, I was like, yeah, it didn't come from him.
No.
I was very shocked with St. Charles is absolutely
Where's
shocking.
Buchanan County? That, I mean, I'm looking,
Buchanan is up towards Kansas City.
Is it up above Kansas
So I mean,
City?
when you look at that, his
Above
fees are
Jackson
pretty
County
good
and
in
stuff.
comparison to some of these
Now I
others.
gotta look it up.
I said, when you look at that, you know, by the number of his caseload versus his fees, you know, he's getting a pretty good, fair amount of fees.
Buchanan County, because
Oh, that's St.
they've got
Joe's.
405,
That is St. Joe.
they've got 405 on their caseload, and I'm like, wow. Okay.
Well, don't have to take all the cases that he has coming to him.
St. Joe's
Actually,
population.
I had more.
St. Joe is 89,000. Is that countywide?
I would've thought it would've
Population was
been-
89,
I
2001,
would've thought it would've
yep.
been-
I would've thought it
County
was.
seat is St. Joe. I thought St. Joe was bigger than,
Mhm.
hell, I figured St. Joe was that big by itself.
89,000?
Thought
Really?
it would be.
There ain't much there.
I don't remember the last time I was there.
Yeah.
I was just thinking for some reason it's bigger. All right.
Well, if he's got one that can step.
So
up.
Thursday, same time, same place, are we starting at 8? 9.
It was 9. I think it's 9.
9?
9 on Thursday.
Okay. So,
Clerk's office has a, I don't know if you saw it out in the hallway, that they were demoing, it's like a voting, and that the expenses running through election expense should be the ones we're getting reimbursed for. I mean, there are occasionally small things that you need to buy for an election that we don't get reimbursed for, but this is a larger item that just because you have money left in election expense, I don't know that that's the proper place to pay for it.
Right.
I don't know your thoughts. The invoice is still in me,
How much is it?
Yeah, how much was
almost
it?
$1,300.
How many is he buying?
One currently, no, that may be more than one. Because at one time they said they were gonna get 3, right?
Was that what, he's.
So it's
he's
a
like-
little four-sided.
Is that what he's
voting
gonna
booth,
use out here
stand up.
for, takes up a lot of room.
Yeah.
It's gonna make our hall.
it's 4 of one.
So
Oh.
if that's only one, and they're
One.
talking about getting 2 more.
Well, I don't think you can put 3 out there. I
Well,
think
they
that-
want to do where the Christmas tree is right now, I think 2, 1 there, maybe it's just 2. Or is it 2 in front of their windows and 1? I don't know. I don't.
It's just not a
It'd
good
be
place
eight-
to
if you-
purchase
2
it.
would be
We
8.
want to agree to it, but we
2
don't
would
want to
be
have
8.
election services.
Right, I don't have a problem with the purchase, I'm just not sure election expenses where it needs.
Furniture and equipment if you want, but
I don't know what's in his election services either, I don't know.
to me, that's a perfect place.
I mean, and I'm not gonna pick on the clerk or anybody else, but we got a problem with how we do stuff because, you know, people buy stuff and then they may not have the money out of the right account, and then all of a sudden we gotta figure out how to transfer money around and pay for it. I mean, to me, that's a huge problem, and we see it all the time, and,
Well, the only way to get around that is to make them enter a PO for every purchase.
and to get
Or
it,
you send them the bill.
and to get it approved before they purchase it, right?
And unfortunately, to put a little extra cushion in some people's budget, just gives them opportunity to transfer that money.
Well, in lean years, when we don't have as much to do to buy nicer things, you know, as an employer and as, you know, one of the head county officials, if we tighten up on those, we got a little more money to give our people. So, you know, I mean, so you can't have your cake and eat it too. You gotta either get all the fluff and then no raises, or you do the bare minimum and you give your people more. So,
And I guess, I don't know where the line comes in, because we talked about with recorder and the stuff that used to be purchased out of recorder's fund for their office versus now coming out of Brian's portion of the sales tax. For an item like this, that they have something that works, but they want something different, is it the responsibility of general fund to purchase that, or, I don't know. I don't know where I don't want to micromanage offices, that's not my goal, but at the same time,
Note the money you're spending on this, they could actually be using for the part-time that they were asking for. So it's kind of like, okay, would you rather have these, or would you rather have money for part-time? If we're really gonna be tight, that's, you know,
so I don't have a problem with the booth they want to buy. I don't think it should come out of election
Thursday is scheduled for 8 in the morning. Is that what
Is
you
it
guys
right?
want to keep it in?
oh, we can get out of here.
I mean, I'm okay with that, Kristen, but I mean, I hate that we transfer stuff after the fact. I mean, it's just, and I mean, it's not just the clerk, I mean, it's a
But I
lot of
guess
the other ones too.
I look at election expense just like I would look at fuel. Election expense is for the cost of an election. Just like fuel is to purchase fuel.
Right.
So if you have money left over in fuel, can you go buy a new car? I don't.
What are those things for out there?
For elections.
For,
There you go.
Absentee vote.
There you go, but for elections. Use it for elect, take it out of election.
You could put that on a lot of things, Joe.
Okay.
We're not going to get reimbursed for that. That's not something you can bill the state for. To me, that election is,
But he's been reimbursed for other stuff with the elections. It's coming out of election fund, right? So he's got the money in there?
his election fund.
Yeah, where he's wanting to take it from?
No, he wants to take it out of his election expense in general fund.
As opposed to taking it out of where? Oh, okay. So, we gotta send it back?
It's up to you guys.
If you want, I'm asking, do you want to transfer money out of election expense somewhere else? Do you want him to pay for it out of somewhere else? What would you like to do? I don't think election expense is where we should be paying for that from. But I get your point too. It's used for the election,
Yeah,
so.
But that's something you can't bill back to the entities for an election. Like if the city was having an election, to me, what we spend out of there is stuff we can bill the city for that election. We can't bill them for that booth. You know, we can only bill them for how much it costs to run that election in April or whenever the election was. That makes sense. That's what we've always used it for.
That's what we've tried to make that account, is this is the items that, if you can bill for the election, this is where they get paid out of. Your poll workers, your polling places, your mileage for that day, your people that deliver your voting machine, the items that you're billing back to whoever's paying for it.
Then bill them back for those if they're using that for elections.
You're getting more and more people voting absentees. I mean, it really,
It's more,
I don't,
or as much anything.
I don't think we need 3 of those.
Bill them for the new flooring we put in there too, and the new paint, because that office made it nice and more receptive to voters. We can bill anything that the clerk's office does for any kind of election for that. Those, I think, would be directly associated with it. Now, are we billing it back to anybody?
It depends what election. Who had stuff on what, you know, if it was like.
How do they figure out how much we get paid back from election?
I don't think that.
For how do they figure what they're billing?
No, they can't bill that.
How are they figuring what they're billing?
It's a long spreadsheet they go through and they itemize all the stuff that she was just talking about, the people that work that day, the judges that work that day.
So if they got to rent equipment for an election, how do they bill it? They put that in the rentals for election?
If the city had something, if the school district had something.
Okay, let's say the school, say a school, we'll just throw school out there. School has something, so we have to rent something to do the election.
We rent a U-Haul to move the.
Okay, so you put that under rentals to move, okay? Well, we rent those right back to them at a rate and say, well, we had to rent these absentee ballot booths.
Maybe they can, but I don't think they do.
If not, we tell them if they're voting for a school thing, they can't use it. They gotta use a little desk and chair and pencil. Now, I know that's being far reaching, but
I don't think it's for this.
I think it'd be just like us paying to use the parking lot down there we put in the law enforcement fund.
I don't know.
I think that would be used here for absentee, so. There you go.
Yeah, we could just let that sit out there to the next AP run until we get some answers.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's that, Chris, as well?
I'm okay with moving it to pay it out of a different fund or
Well, so-
whatever, but we have to have some kind of understanding amongst all departments that, look, this has to fit in the fund, and nothing will be approved until the transfer is approved, so don't go purchase this. And the credit cards are the worst. I mean, so, oh, we already bought it. Well, now we got finance charges. Well, that's a bunch of crap.
But so where's the line too as far as this voting thing? So they had they had tables and the things on the tables to vote at. And you want the 4-booth thing instead. Is that the responsibility of the county to purchase that? Or should he pay for that out of election service? Because it's, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know where.
The only use it is for elections. I mean, we can't really use it, the commission, I don't know what we could do with it. It's for elections.
The election service fund, his private fund.
Yes.
That's what it's used for. It can't, there's no other use.
So I mean, it's the same thing with the recorder. If they want to purchase a new server, but Brian doesn't think that they need this server, they need a different one, well, they want to go with the bigger server. Is it his responsibility to pay for that server because he wants something above and beyond? Or is it our responsibility to pay for it. What's,
Are you tagging it as Cole County property?
yeah,
Then in my opinion, you know, it's the property of the county, which we oversee the county, and, you know, they need to get approval before they purchase stuff. We need to all be on the same page and all work together. Can't go in 10 different directions. That's just me.
If they got money in their budget, may not be in the line item we want.
I think if you put 3 of those out there, that's gonna be so cluttered. We have a lot of handicapped people, blind people.
I
You
mean-
could make, you could,
I think his is just leading to a bigger
Yeah.
conversation. One, I don't know
Yeah.
that it should come out of election expense. And then two, it leads to other things. What,
It's come with voting machines themselves. I mean, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on that. We can't bill that back to an entity, you know, it's for election.
they charge the entities a rental.
True, that's what they do. on
They
that.
do charge them a rental.
That's what they
And we split that.
do. For the elections that can't be reimbursed.
Right, right. So the elections in August.
I think April's talking about putting use tax on the April ballot.
Who?
The city's talking about putting a use tax on it. They're just scared to death since Columbia's. But Columbia last night overrode the TIF commission.
So that invoice is out there.
Shut down.
It is out there.
Wait and ask Steve, or,
What, probably already approved it here.
no, it's sitting
Oh,
at me.
okay.
It's not at you yet, it's
Okay.
still at me, because I had the question. And I mean, I guess I can go ask Marla too, I don't.
That's just one right now.
Yeah, I don't know, we just need to get everybody on the same page, how we're gonna do stuff.
Well, and I don't
We've come
have,
a long way.
I don't have that kind of stuff built into their election expense for next year.
Hey, you got a accounts payable in here too.
Oh, okay.
I would approve it this time around.
You can let one hang.
Let one hang and.
Let Sam's hang. and
Yeah, because he voted.
You want me to
Yeah.
deny it, or
Okay, that's fine.
do I deny it, or I just
You can
leave it?
deny it back to me. And I'll push it back.
We can do that on Thursday,
Just
if you want to do it.
put it on the agenda.
Or we can vote on it right now, we're still in session.
We are still in session.
Once you, I'll go get her back over here so we can just get it done.
I'm fine with doing that, knock it out.
So I know you guys don't look at these accounts payable a lot, but, so EMS repairs, $2,200 on-site oil change, $2,500 on-site oil change, $250 for, some of these are bigger. That's basically an oil filter and a water separator, $250. Control arm, 1,600, 164, 216, 213, another 213, and that big one, 8785 for that one at Riley's. I mean, it's just, you know, I think we need to do something in-house.
All right, so,
Approve that account payable.
or we just gotta make a motion to approve the one accounts payable for Sam's.
Right. I move that we
mileage.
approve the reimbursement for Sam Bushman.
Second.
Abstain. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
You was ready to abstain on that.
You want to still talk?
I'm done.
I was done about 1 o'clock. My brain was fried.
Motion, move to recess till 4:30.
Hell, yeah.
Is that a second?
All in favor?
Aye. Did you get the hell yeah on that one? You know you have to have one of those about 3 o'clock.
So 8 o'clock